Hello and welcome to my very first Path of True Love reading here on Drawing the Circles YouTube channel. I am your reader for today, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mark A. Lyons, or Mal for short, as so many people call me. And yeah, I waited to do this for a while. I've been guided by my gods, my masters, and my angels to start doing these readings on YouTube. I did them last night for the Summer Solstice or Letha Grace stream in my Words of Grace by Mark A. Lyons Facebook group. Words of Grace from a Professional Witch by Mark A. Lyons is my last book that I put out. So we have a little group going on there. So that was my first time doing it for them. I've been reading cards since I'm 12 years old. I'm currently 50. If you go to my website, drawingthecircle.com, and read the About Us, which it's about me, I kind of go into my career. My resume reads like fiction, but it's actually documented, which is a little scary. So as a result of this, I have decided to put out, at least to start with, monthly, 12 monthly readings dealing with the Path of True Love, which is the name of my next book, and which I've been living on in so many freaking lifetimes at this point. We hope that we're getting near the end of that path. Anyway, wait for that book to come out. It's hot. Anyway, so yeah, let's do this. I'm really excited. I actually waited until the moon was in Aries, which it went into Aries, I think at 10 p.m. yesterday, and I waited until after it was midnight so that it would be on Tuesday. So it's Tuesday. Yeah, moon in Aries. So what better time could there be? It is waning. It would be better if it was new or waxing, but yeah, we're going to roll with it. We're going to roll with it. And my ultimate goal is not just to read accurately, to say that my work is not based on prediction. My work is based on clarity. I'm not here to tell you what to do, particularly in Aries. By the way, not just Aries, sun sign, Aries, sun, moon, rising, and Venus or Venus sign. So take what works in these readings, but I never tell people what to do. I am a true clairvoyant empath. I sees it and I feels it, and I can put it into words that people can understand so that they can find their own guidance, their own grace, coordinates. I'm a Virgo, so I'm very, very good at giving people coordinates and directions, but I never tell people what to do. That's not my job, particularly as a witch. It's not that wise to tell people what to do. You show them what to do. Otherwise, it's empowering, and considering knowing what I know enough about quantum physics that, yeah, anything's probable. Well, not everything's probable. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm not going to transform into an Aries sun. All of a sudden, I'm a Virgo sun. But certainly, we're dealing with the quantum here, which is why I'm reading you with 3 decks for these. These are the 3 decks that I read my regular clients with. First one is a Doreen Virtue. Angel, I think it's the Angel Healing Oracle. Been using that for years in tandem with my delightful, delicious, lovely Daughters of the Moon Tarot by Fiona Morgan. I started reading this deck when it was originally printed in black and white when I was 18 years old, 19 years old. So it is the deck I've been reading with the longest. It is round. Oh, look, 2 of Cups on the bottom. We're going to shuffle them, Aries. Don't think we're jumping in that fast. And The Love Pack by Chuck Spezzano. It's a very kind of Course in Miracles sort of based deck. I am both a teacher and a student of Course in Miracles, have been for over 20 years. But as I affectionately call this deck, I call it the Womp Womp deck, because though there are beautiful cards in it, like healing, healing, there's also disillusionment, right? So it's got as many Womp Womp cards in it as it has the yummy, lovely love and light cards. So how this works is when I do this, I've already been tuning to this all day long because I knew I was going to be doing this. I work with 3 channels when I read. And what I mean by that, think of like radio channels or TV channels. I draw my information when I do these readings of any kind, and even when I do spiritual counseling work. I am a reverend. That I work with the angels, the gods, and the masters. So you'll he'll watch me talk to the card and say, angels, can you give me some insight, right? So these are the cards through which my angels, and I'm a Urielite, so we're getting the Earth Angels, the Redeemers, the Mack trucks of the Archangels, and they know a little bit more about life on Earth than some of the rest of the celestial beings, but you never know who's going to pop in on the angelic hotline. By the way, my name is Mark Angelo Lyons. Archangel is in my name, so there you go. My gods, I'm an eclectic witch. I'm about as eclectic as you get, I think, for 50 years old. I work with the Hellenic Greeks. Those are my gods. Loaf of bread, jug of wine, schmear of hummus, and a beach. I'm good to go. So this is the deck that I work with my gods. So you'll see me ask my gods for clarity. And then, of course, the masters. To me, the masters are beings who have graduated planet Earth, fulfilled their curriculum, awakened, ascended, whatever you want. And I'm always leery to talk about them because I have filed them under tinfoil hat woo land for so very long. But you know what? When they start showing up in your life and you have telepathic conversations, I told them if they show up on my couch like they did with Gary Renard, I'm calling a therapist. And I'm bolting from the house, and I hope the Ascended Masters know how to feed my cats. Yeah, but they're great. They're funny. And they really get life on planet Earth. So we've got 3 different, if you like, dimensions or aspects of different guidance, right? So here we go. Let's look at where the sun sign, well, the sign of Aries is on the path of true love for the month of July 2019. Ready? Here we go. Take a deep breath, Aries. Whether you're a sun, moon, rising, or Venus, sign of Aries, here they come. I can feel them coming, and I ask my angels. Angels, we're just going to start with one clarifying card. Can you please show me the month of July 2019 for the sign of Aries, sun, moon, rising, or Venus, where they are on the path of true love. Intention. Interesting. Well, intention, it really is a combination of the answers to the question, both what do I want and why do I want it? And the balancing of what and why can be tricky. If you're into it, check out the law of deliberate creation as Abraham Hicks teaches it. You'll find that if you are a witch, that it correlates to the element of air, belief, and the element of fire, desire, and how to balance those out. Because what you want, sure, we can be vague, and sometimes it's not so great, and we can be over specific. So it's finding the balance of what you want, and then it's really, because you're in Aries, about getting in touch with why you want it. But we have a tendency to sugarcoat that. We have to get really honest about that, because sometimes we don't want to admit why we really want what we want. Like, just for example, I want a true love, twin flame, soulmate, life partner. Why? Because I want someone to ascend with. We're deep down inside, oh, I want someone to complete me and feed me and make my pain go away. That person is called Jack Daniels, and he is a bottle of liquor, and it doesn't work for very long. So intention, my Aries people, keep that in mind. So that's what the angels say, that you're setting an intention, or your intention comes clear, but this is why we have the 2 other decks, all right? So let's ask the gods, okay? Oh, my gods. And because the moon is in Aries, I could certainly feel the god Aries as well as Aphrodite in the room, in the energy sphere here with me, because we're talking about true loves. And boy, you want to talk about twin flame turbulent relationship, Aries and Aphrodite in there. So I'm going to ask my gods in general for one card for the sign of Aries, sun, moon, rising, and or Venus in Aries, for one clarity card, one indicator for where they are on the path of true love, and it is the moon. Now, the card of the moon, I love it in this deck. It's Yemaya, one of the Orishas, Orisha of the ocean, and certainly considered a goddess of love in her own right. Goddess Orisha, I'm got to try and back off the cultural stuff because, you know, cultural appropriation and everything. But all gods are one god, all goddesses one goddess, and in truth, God and goddess are one. Just my personal experience of meeting them. Mount Olympus cocktail party, great fun. You know what to wear, toga. So here's the thing about the moon. The moon card is tricky. And the more readings you get, or the more readings you watch, for example, on YouTube, you're going to see all sorts of different confusing things about the moon, because the moon is not reasonable. The moon is not about the mind. It is about the emotions, right? The element of water. So if you think of it as a card that says that things are shifting and things are moving, they are in shadow, things are perhaps not completely revealed or subconscious, like underwater, but you know, there are layers of underwater. There's something like, you know, when you go to the beach, you can see your feet under the water as you're wading into the ocean, right? But then there's 10,000 leagues under the sea. You can't see that stuff. To me, that's more the unconscious mind, but we'll leave that aside. So what I love about this card, not just how beautiful it is, but what the gods have said to me about this card in particular, because I've been reading this deck for so long, that so often we don't know what path we're on. If we're going in the right direction, right? Are we on our path? Are we off our path? Personally, we're spirit, so we can't be off our spiritual path. We're spirit, right? No matter what we do, we're on a spiritual path. But there are times when the moon is just right, and the moon is full, and you're standing at the edge of a lake or an ocean, and you see the path, the moonlight come right to your feet, and it doesn't matter where you go, walking up and down that beach, there is that path coming right to you. Now, that's a lovely metaphor, but what it's saying is that if you can continue to navigate this with your intuition, and let's be clear, there's a difference between emotion and intuition, right? Intuition tends not to have a story and a memory attached to it. It's just something that's just instant, in the moment, a communication from something other than the mind, right? Because the mind is chatty, chatty, chatty. This is something more visceral. It can be a physical sensation, but it wouldn't be, for instance, there's a difference between a cramp in your stomach and a gut hunch, right? So there's a difference between physiology and intuitive response, right? Or intuitive reaction is probably more accurate when it's down here in the gut. So to sort of navigate this mystery time that you are in, my Aries beauties, that, yeah, things are a little shadowy, a little shifty, a little ebb, a little flow, not exactly sure where things stand. But at the same time, the angels are saying, well, then really go deep into not just the what you want of your intention, but why. Like every morning I wake up and I say, today may I be more loving, powerful, and wise than I have ever been before. Like that's my main intention. Anything else on top of that may very well be important. It may be about blessing the world, and maybe about doing the best that I could do today, or sending love and healing to people. But if I can set my intention, something so general yet so powerful, it really is going to allow me intuitively throughout the day, not to check where I am, but to more feel that moonlight coming right under my path. And since we're talking about the path of true love, we could say that you're on your path, you just aren't sure, because the mind might be getting in the way. The more you clarify your intention, which technically is element of fire, then you are finding a good way to shine some light, not just on your thoughts, but on your intuition, not just your emotions. Cool? Now, isn't that pretty so far? Cards. Now, I've never met Chuck Spezzano. He's got some videos up on YouTube. I only came to him by having this deck. I think I had I had the Enlightenment pack of his, which was the deck previous to this one. Wait, let's see if that one comes up again. I'm not even intending this yet. But I gave that to a dear friend when I got this one, because it's like double the size of the Enlightenment pack. So it's called the Love Pack. So now I'm going to ask my masters. Oh, my masters. Yeah, here they are. Can we please have one card, an overview For Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus sign, where they are, the path of true love for the month of July 2019. And here it is. It is the card that I saw before, floating on air. So let's talk about this, because I think I might be familiar with something like this. When you've got intention with the moon, as we've discussed, it says, well, it might be a little murky, a little this or that, but let me clarify my intention, light some fire, get in touch, breathe some good focused thought onto what it is that I want and why I want it. Because the mind might very well be in conflict with the fact that you are floating on air and yet you have no idea what's going to happen. In other words, what we're talking about here is uncertainty. That perhaps the outer is not matching the inner. How often does that happen? Pretty much always, right? For instance, you might be in a relationship with somebody or be thinking about somebody, and when you think about them, oh, there's that feeling, that wave. Even somebody mentions their name, even if they're not talking about them, you get triggered, an emotional trigger, an intuitive reaction. But that takes you very much by surprise. That could be something where you're going to start not just doubting, but it's going to throw off your intention, because you might very much want to have that kind of love where you're floating on air, but at the same time, if what you're sensing is not matching up on the outside, that could be a little tricky. So the great thing about laying out these three cards is when there is a question or I want to clarify any of these cards, I go to the requisite deck. So I think we're pretty clear on intention, but you know what? I'll pull one. My angels, can you please give me one card here to clarify for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus sign. Little piece of clarity for the path of true love for them for July 2019. Oh, here we go, top of the deck, signs. All right, so that you will be getting signs as you go along the way. And that's a good thing to intend. Can you give me a sign? All right, angels, particularly because it's shown in this deck. All right, angel of true love, angel of the path. I don't even know if you exist. Look, I'm from New York. They let me get away with that sort of attitude. So they know what we've been through here. You can ask for signs in that way, that your intention is in alignment. And usually the sign that I give in my intention is alignment, is I'm floating on air, or at least in a more relaxed, peaceful place where it's more conducive and receptive to my intention coming. Just saying. Now, why don't we pull a card to clarify for the moon? Because it is such a card of mystery, a little bit different than the High Priestess. The High Priestess is about intuition too, but since she's not here at the moment, keeping this limited to at least the interpretation of the moon, to say that we are talking about something about guidance, about something that's not easily visible. So can we please, my gods, oh my gods, oh my beloved divine tribe, oh, can we please have a clarifier? Just one card. Oh, here we go. Kali. Kali in this deck is the Tower, but she's Kali the Awakener. So interesting, we go from this mysterious, dreamy state of the moon, just lightning. So looking at these two together, the moon and the Tower, we could say that there is an emotional shock. You know, you could say emotional breakdown. Again, that's a little literal for me, considering we're not really talking about emotion here so much as we're talking about intuition and the path, right? The path itself. But there's a shock coming. A shock. Now, people are terrified of the Tower, and I get it, particularly when it's Kali, you know, all those arms coming at you. She doesn't look like she's having a good day. With that Tower being struck by lightning behind her and all. But to keep in mind that the Tower can often be the Yod, the Y-O-D, the finger of God, that it can absolutely be divine intervention, lightning strikes. It can be the reception of a piece of truth that destroys an illusion. I've said for decades when I teach tarot, because I do teach people how to read professionally, and the business part of it, as well as, you know, the meanings of the cards and all that. But I say to them, it's like, imagine someone who doesn't believe in ghosts their whole lives, and they live to be 40, 45 years old, and then all of a sudden they see a ghost in their house, and there's no doubt about it. Well, 45 years of disbelief is zapped in 1 second like that. So it is something, it is a blow, but also an enlightenment can be like that. So if light is truth, and that's certainly a spiritual language that I work with, Course in Miracles actually says light and truth are pretty much the same thing, not the same thing, then what is lightning? It is truthning. So there is a zap of truth here, which can indicate that this might be you're feeling it's true love, or you're doubting it's true love. And that's why it can be a little bit of a conflict there for you, Aries, wanting to believe but not wanting to believe, wanting to but no, I can't because stuff, right? And then we've got this floating on air situation. So I don't know how much clarity that needs, but since I've given one for each, I'm kind of feeling it's cool to do that now. So my masters, can you give us another little piece of clarity for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and or Venus sign for the month of July 2019 on the path of true love? Joy. Wow, you didn't get any womp womp cards, Aries. So that's really, they're just saying, it's like, can you enjoy where you are right now? Can you float on air? And can you get that the power of your intention, if it's to get a lover, get a man, get a woman, dig a pit, cover it with banana leaves, and throw $100 bill in the center of it. It's quicker. Illegal, quicker. What is your intention? If your intention is to experience true love, what do I want? I want to experience true love. Why? Because there's something inside of me calling for it, that I know it's a path, that I've been through so much. But if it's because I just don't want to date anymore, just bring my true love to me, ain't nothing wrong with that. But the why you can feel, although go in and love that exhaustion, that tired, that fed upness, that needs your love too. But really, in what I'm seeing here, this is saying, if your intention is to have a good time, to see what happens, to go on an adventure, because the path of true love is a hero's journey. Trials and tribulations, pitfalls, joys, the highest of bliss and the depths of sorrows. It just goes that way, like any hero's journey does. From ancient myth to contemporary, superhero movies, we get that hero's journey over and over and over again, to just see if you can really be in joy in the present moment and float on air and see what happens. And really, considering we're talking about Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the child of the zodiac, that takes a certain amount of innocence, willingness. So can you, with for instance, the child archetype, can you love that child inside of you to say, all right, kid, I know we're floating on air and it doesn't make sense, and it may all be happening very lightning fast, or maybe what we're feeling on the inside isn't the same as what we're feeling on the outside, but it's okay. I'm here. No matter what happens, let's see what happens. Let's float on air for a little bit. Let's see what happens. Because at the end of the day, whether this goes the way we want it to or not, I'm here and I love you, and we're going to do our best. Yeah. So I would say, Aries, have at it. I mean, it is July. It is here in New York. It's hot, so getting out more, doing stuff more. Even though the sun right now is in the sign of Cancer, it will be going into Leo halfway through. So there is that element of fire there to sort of take the first part of this month to just sort of float and see what happens. And of course, if you are in a relationship with somebody, this indicates that it can be very shocking, very, very powerful, but enjoy the levity and the altitude while you got it. Cool? Cool. If you would like a reading with me, just check down in the box underneath this thing. I'll put my info in here. But certainly you can go peruse my website, drawingthecircle.com, anytime you like. We have the store on there. There are my books. There's a bunch of audio albums that I made there of prayers and meditations for words of grace, as well as there are options in the store to purchase a reading package or spiritual counseling package. Cool, because I do that stuff all the time. Alrighty, folks, thank you so much. You're my first. Oh, I was de-virginized. I lost my virginity to thousands of anonymous Aries. I'm going to leave that there. And for now, my darlings, my friends, hope to see you next month. And I wish you a really, truly fun, blessed, floating on air, joyful path of true love for the month of July. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.